Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
She's all fired up today.
I am.
So we're going to do a video, I believe, talking about fandom again and talking about how sometimes you're just not allowed to like something. Even if you have valid reasons for not liking it, you can't agree to disagree. People have to make sure that you know you're in the wrong.
Well, I think we talked about fandoms yesterday and about how there's a decline in pop culture, and we talked about Hollywood and the media and how they play into it. I think we have to talk about how the fandoms also play into it, and I saw a prime example of this in the last day.
Yeah, I mean, we've been watching this whole thing for the last 5 or 6 years now, but it is a very interesting phenomenon to see how far people will go to defend a piece of fiction,
right?
That they didn't even have a say. I can understand somebody who worked on the show. I can understand somebody who worked on the comic or whatever getting upset. What I do not understand are people whose entire personalities are about standing and defending a show that they had no real stake in. And usually it's not like I'm defending it because people are attacking it or attacking people associated with it. It's like, literally, you don't like it for valid reasons. You must be a literal Nazi.
Well, that's what yeah, exactly. So I'll explain the situation in a minute. We're going to talk about that. But before we get into it any further. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, get a woohoo if you do. So you're going to have to walk me through this one. Okay.
What is going on?
So I'm on a lot of different boards. I've talked about Disney boards I'm on and different things. Well, yesterday I happened to see something on a board I'm on. And the original poster claimed that he wanted a discussion about why you like or dislike the Kevin Smith He-Man. Clearly, their opinion was it's the greatest thing ever, but they're going to use the guise of let's discuss as a way to get people to say what they thought so they can get jumped on. Okay.
Yes, we've seen this before.
And the thing about why we even do what we do isn't because people disagree, because you're allowed to disagree. Everybody's allowed to have an opinion. If you like it, cool. If you don't like it, cool. You're allowed to have that opinion. The problem arises when having a different opinion then leads to bullying and toxic behavior being, thrown at somebody because they disagree. That's why we do what we do. Okay. So in this thread, of course, a lot of people were pro the show because they were it was a He-Man board, obviously. So they were all talking about how much I liked it. I said I didn't like it. Other people said they didn't like it for different reasons. And I can't tell you how many posts came up that if you didn't like the show, it was because you don't like Tila and you are a sexist, racist, homophobic, alt-right, blah, 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 because you don't like the show. And I saw it over and over and over again. And it's so ridiculous because the people are so insecure in their own opinion that they cannot literally stand anyone to disagree. Obviously it's because you're a terrible person, because if you would love it like they do if you weren't a terrible person. I saw it over and over again. I saw people, if people disagreed, didn't like it, they were not male. They would be called these things too, and if they challenge it, it was still because, well, you just don't like Tila. No, a lot of people didn't like Tila because Tila was absolutely insufferable, and she was a complete bitch in that show.
So as somebody who's been watching He-Man since the very beginning, that version of Tila in the Kevin Smith show was completely out of character.
Oh, no.
Completely out of character.
In the discussion, they were telling people that was, if you watched it and you knew the comics and you knew the original show, you would know that she's always been like that.
She's always been standoffish and a bit gruff, but she loved her family. She loved her friends. She wouldn't have thrown them away like that.
She was an insufferable bitch. And the other thing is, you don't like it because it's a bunch of, I love this one, a bunch of toxic male YouTubers, because we're all men, don't you know?
Yes.
Who are mad because they're sexually frustrated over Tila. I'm like,
are you sexually frustrated?
Yeah, and I also have a dick now. Yeah.
Wait. When were you going to tell me that? Here's
the thing. As a woman, I am so tired of the stupid ass half-shaved head trope. We got a strong female character, man. She's basically a dude with tits. Having muscles, the action figure did too. That wasn't such a big deal. Even though they make you more bulky than they do tone. It's a little weird. That's fine. But of course, as soon as you're strong, you suddenly have to shave your head and cut your hair short because only strong female characters can exist. They look like a man.
Like G.I. Jane.
I just think it's insulting because it's, as a woman, it's like you cannot be feminine because if you're feminine, you're not strong female character because there's only one way to be strong.
So let's look. Okay, so if we're gonna go there, and this person was clearly gunning for a fight, hoping.
Oh, there's that. They all, the whole thread.
That's what they do, and I'm like, are you really? Do you really not have enough going on in the real world that you're gonna dredge up the show from a couple of years ago? And...
No, it was because they were talking about Revolution.
Okay, so the original show, two of the strongest characters on the show were the Sorceress and Queen Marlena, and both of them were very feminine. They were both mothers.
Let's look at Shira.
Yeah.
And in the new show, they showed the character art, and she looked like Ben 10. And it looked terrible. And people were like mad. And then, of course, and I have it here, if you didn't like it, it's just because you're mad she's not sexualized. It's like, but meanwhile, the same people that, were calling out men for not liking Shira were doing fan art of Cat Dora and porn. And it's okay then because it's okay if they sexualize Shira.
Yeah, the weird thing is everybody kept glossing over this. Shira was designed, the original Mattel Shira dolls that supposedly men were fapping to. Yeah, they were designed by women. Mm-hmm.
And they made them more muscular, so they didn't like models.
Yes, because, they figured, well, this is an action hero. She's going to be more athletic, and they actually bulked her up a little bit so she wasn't Barbie with a sword.
Right. But she still was feminine. So
Yes.
they all were. And people were like, they just like a dude because she's strong. And you just hate women. And you hate that she's not sexualized. And you hate that she's not pretty. It's like, you done made her look terrible. I'm sorry. But you did it because that's what you wanted to see. You wanted to see somebody, a lot of these people who are in charge of these shows that are women, if they have female characters, they make them look terrible because they feel better about themselves. They do it. Then we have these shows written by men, and when they have a character as a strong female character, they have the half shaved hair.
Yeah, so I mean, it's so weird though. There's just the whole phenomenon, and we've seen it with the Tumble Generation, and I came across a video yesterday. I almost posted a link to it on Twitter, X, whatever the hell we're calling it now. I didn't do it because I didn't want to bring undue attention to it. But it was suggested to me. It was called "Why Nerds Joined the Alt-Right," and it was this like breakdown of why this person believed that nerds get indoctrinated into the alt-right. And I watched a couple of minutes of it.
I would argue the same argument this person makes is why they go to the far left as
Exactly.
well. And I'd say more so.
And they were breaking down like, well, they're looking for belonging. They're looking for validation. A lot of these people might be on the spectrum and they don't understand why other people don't see things the way they see them and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, that's actually describing the other side. That's actually describing the people that you're not allowed to dislike anything.
I think the problem lies in the fact that since everything's online and you're not having to have actual discourse with somebody in person, it's really easy to dehumanize somebody. And they do it so they feel better about their opinion. And that's what we keep seeing. Like, if you don't agree with me, I'm so insecure about my own thoughts, my own opinion. And the only way to make myself feel better is to call you names. Now, you definitely see it more towards those who don't like something than they do. Like, I mean, I think if you're doing it to either side, you're an asshole. Don't do that. That's when I get involved because I'm like, hell no. But there's definitely this whole projection thing where I'm mad because you don't like what I like. I can't handle that because I'm too fragile. So I'm going to label you and generalize and call you a bunch of things and then say that's why you don't agree with me. Meanwhile, you're like, oh, you're a misogynist because you're just mad about Tila. And it's like, I'm mad about Tila, but I'm a woman. Oh, well, it's because you're mad because, what?
He's getting mansplaining.
Oh yeah, they keep mansplaining.
They're like, why you have to like Tila.
Yes, basically. And you tell them like, it's cool. You're allowed to like something. It's okay. I'm not going to fight with you. I just don't like it. Here's why. But hey, if you like it, cool. They cannot handle it. They're and then they're going out man babies and calling everybody else man babies. And I'm sitting here like, yeah, I see a man baby, all right. But it's not the people you keep saying are the man babies.
The weird thing about this, and like we talk about it just in general, and we talk about how there are people that are in charge of franchises, that are burning down franchises, causing division, Lying, the media lying about fans, trying to get them worked up.
I think that leads into the fandom turning on each other.
Yeah, and it's just a weird. I think there's some marketing stuff behind it. I think
with Shira, there was 100%.
That was marketing. That was pure marketing.
They even said it. I mean, Melanie Britt even said that was,
yes.
I don't know what happened, but comments were made that alluded to the fact that the marketing team was a big part of it.
This isn't your father's Shira. He was fapping the Shira.
It's like, but I get so tired of being a woman. I'm told that this stereotype is what I have to accept. It's like I don't have to accept it. I think it's a stupid stereotype, and it needs to stop. There's a lot of ways to be strong as a woman, and I'm sorry, when you're strong doesn't automatically mean you have to look like a guy. That's so stupid.
Yeah, my big complaint. I mean, look, it's very simple. With the Masters of the Universe, the animation was nice, character designs were nice. Literally, I'm Geeky's sitting where I usually sit in the studio.
I'm in charge.
And she is. She's my seat. Not that I'm ever in charge, but we'll pretend I am.
I like them. Think he is.
But right behind her, there actually are some Revelation action figures.
The ones you said you weren't going to buy?
Yeah, it depends. Because they're the classic characters and they're good. Like Clamp Champ, that's the best version of Clamp Champ they've ever made. And damn it, I love Clamp Champ, so I bought it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the character designs are great, the figures are great. But people brought up other things they didn't like about the show. Like they didn't like the fact that, He-Man was sidelined. They didn't like the fact that like some of the other characters, especially about the Masters, but they kind of just focus on Tila and they kind of just push away the other characters, like what happened to Orko, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I mean, look, and if I'm going to tell you just, if the expectations were different, if the fans...
I think they should have set that up.
Yeah, if the expectations were different and the fans were at least shown a bit of respect, like, yeah, we understand people were kind of, upset about it, and we couldn't really tell you what was going to go on because we didn't want to ruin the surprise. And yeah, it was kind of a bait and switch, but this is a story we wanted to tell rather than just like, you guys suck, you're a bunch of nerds, you're a bunch of crybabies.
Well, Kevin Smith did not help. Anytime anybody criticized, he acted like a giant tool bag. But like people keep bringing that up in the comments. They're like, well, it was called Masters of the Universe, not He-Man, the Masters of the Universe. So you should have known. Or they've said when they pitched it that the synopsis had Tila in it, we know. Yeah, we're the ones who read it to you guys first. We're one of the first ones to cover it. We were actually excited about it.
Because we were excited. We're
huge but we did say we caught that, and we're like, that's a little concerning, but okay. And all they had to do was say, hey, the premise of the show is what happens if He-Man's not there?
That would actually be a great...
What do they have to do to get him back? That would have been, everybody would have been fine with it. And their expectations, aligned.
Exactly. If it were me, Clownfish wishes. If it were me, I would have set that expectation. Huh?
I said Clownfish says, fuck you. Go ahead.
I would have set that expectation. That actually would have been the marketing. And I would build up like, He-Man's been defending Eternia for years and He-Man's always there and He-Man's always fighting Skeletor and da-da-da-da-da. And then just cut the block and be like, but what if He-Man wasn't there anymore?
Yeah. People would have been like, what?
Like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And then they said they didn't. And then for all the misogyny talk and sexism talk, they knew they were going to set up Tila as a more important character. And basically, they didn't tell people because they thought they wouldn't watch it if they did. Who's the sexist now?
And then they did the bait and switch because what they did is they showed all the scenes with proper He-Man in the trailer.
Right.
And they had people believe it.
Yes.
And it all came from like the first episode.
And which we told people.
And we said, no, this is...
Based on the script, this is all the first episode.
This is all the first episode. I knew what happened the first like 2 or 3 episodes. I mean, that was it. I knew what happened about the first 2 or 3. And it was a Cliff Notes version of it. It was, told to me by somebody who had access to the script, who asked me if I wanted a copy of the scripts, and I said no because I did not want a legal issue.
It was funny because these people were like, well, the YouTubers are out there just trying to, they didn't even care. They were just trying to get money off of it. And it's like, the funny thing about all this is...
Unlike Netflix, it doesn't want any money for anything. I know.
No, but the funny thing to me was, I mean, I can't speak to other people. Did some people do that to monetize it? Yes. But in our case, because we're the ones that always get brought up, it's like, what's funny to me is the fact that when it was announced, we were excited about it and took so much shit for being excited about it because people were like, Kevin Smith's going to ruin it. People said, and we're like, no, it might be good. And... You literally just posted what you found out as a tweet. You didn't even do a video on it because we didn't know.
I wasn't going to do a video. I wasn't going to do any videos on it until it came out.
We believed the source was correct. Yes. We knew the source would know.
Works in and around animation.
We knew that they would know.
Yes,
we knew they were in contact with people that got them the script in that time frame.
Yes.
We knew they were telling the truth.
Yes.
But you just put it up as a tweet because you're like, you know what, we don't know enough.
Let's
Hope it's not true. We don't know enough yet. This is what we're hearing. Hopefully it's not true. Kevin Smith was the one who had a hissy shit fit and put us on the radar. We got attacked by everybody and their dog about the fact that we put this tweet up. And then we basically, where other people might not have had a dog in the fight, we totally did.
It's a lot of dogs.
Because I know, I love dogs.
Kevin Smith's dog fucked your leg.
I'm just like, I love dogs. But we had legitimate reason to cover it because we ourselves were attacked and drugged by media and everybody over a tweet.
Yeah, well, that's how we knew we were over the target. Because it's like, you're getting awfully upset.
But
if this is not true,
remember what we
upset.
said when this happened? We're like, okay, well, Kevin Smith says it's not true. So we'll take him at his word.
Yes.
Because he'll look like a complete fucking buffoon if he's lying. Yeah. I'm like, we'll take him at his word. Yep. And we're like, okay, he says it's not true. So we'll assume it's not true. Okay. And then it turned out to be mostly true. I think they did make some changes because of fan backlash, though.
I mean, again, I had the version I had was, based on what I had been told. I did not have the script. I did not want the script. I was offered the script. And I know what happens to pop culture people who get a hold of scripts and advanced copies of stuff. Look at what happened with the Ant-Man.
Right.
debacle,
Yeah. We stayed away from that one.
I'm like, nah, I don't want that.
But, we're like, hey, we'll take him at his word. And then the Tila thing, like it always said about that in the write-up. We know. We told you guys that from the first day. It said we were a little worried about that. But, hopefully it'll be good. And then people act like we just wanted it to fail. It's like, actually, no.
No.
But
absolute opposite. I love Powerhouse Animation. I think they do fantastic work. They're like one of the best U.S.
Oh, it was beautifully animated.
Yeah, it was. I mean,
no question.
I have no qualms whatsoever with the quality of the animation. I think they got some really good voice actors.
Some. Other ones I think were terrible choices.
Some were a terrible choice. I thought Mark Hamill as Skeletor was pretty good.
I just think his voice kind of sounds... Yeah, he kind of sounds like the Joker every time. But
I mean, that's all I heard. And I do think Sarah Michelle Gellar was
She was awful. And I can't stand her. I mean, if you want a whiny bitch, I guess she's the perfect person for Tila. But Tila was unlikable. And if people keep going back to Tila, it's not because they're sexist and they're mad. They're angry mad because they're man baby mad because she's not hot. A lot of people like the muscular thing and they thought she was hot anyway. No, they're mad because Tila was a popular character and they did her dirty and made her an unlikable bitch.
And then we made Evil Lynn a buff
I still love
bodybuilder. Evil Lynn is the main villain.
Basically. I love how people are sexually frustrated men, but yet they think that the battle boner Skeletor thing was awesome. I'm like, I literally rolled my eyes. I'm like, are you kidding me now?
There was an article out there talking about how Skeletor was supposed to be a stand-in for incels or some crap. Like,
oh, for fuck's
2002,
sake.
like literally, yeah, for fuck's sake, literally, I can just see that as a title screen on a Filmation episode. For fuck's sake, written by J. Michael Straczynski.
Oh no, he would do a much better job.
That was Spider-Man. But anyway, no, like I don't know. The whole thing was just
back to the thing about fandom.
It's not just He-Man, but like we're singling out He-Man because it's coming up again.
Well, it's because that was what I just thought. But we saw this with like Star Wars. Star Wars. Okay, give you an example of that. And first of all, as a woman, I am so tired of being a fucking shield for these people. And if it's not, if you're not a woman, it's because you're LGBTQ or you're not white or whatever. You're the shield because you hate those kinds of people. And I'm like, no, and I'm just tired of it. It's because you don't agree. But look, you're allowed to like it. And that's what gets me. I say you're allowed to like something. And then people in the comments lose their shit because I don't agree with them. Or I'm on Twitter and they lose their shit because I don't agree with them. And I don't like it. Like, you're not allowed to not like something. Or you're a terrible person. And they have to mansplain you and explain it to you. And they lecture you and everything to make... Because they're gonna knock the woman into submission to agree with them. Like, it was a couple years ago? A Star Wars. I don't like Rey. Thought she was a Mary Sue. Actually, all my male friends liked her in The Force Awakens. I was the only one who didn't like her, and I was the only girl.
So, okay, let me postulate this. Could it be that we have men standing for quote unquote strong female characters so hard and putting on such a big show of it because they're trying to win the approval of women?
Or they're trying to get laid.
Or they're trying to get laid, but it's like... But then there they are attacking women who are like, yeah, I don't like these
It's not even just women. Like they'll do it with people that aren't white or people that they're claiming they're defending. They'll use people who actually represent those people as they'll use them as shields when somebody that identity questions it or says I don't agree with you. It's just because you're you just don't understand. And I have to mansplain you. But like with
I have to tell you
for
your
example
opinions on your own race and gender.
Yeah, for example, okay, Star Wars. So I was talking, and this one arrogant toolbag was like, oh, it's this misogynist who call her Mary Sue and don't like her. And I said, well, I'm a woman and I don't like her. And I started naming the reasons why. And then there was this dude who hates misogynists, called me an internalized misogynist, that I hate women because I don't agree with his opinion. Let that sink in. Because I didn't agree with him. And as a woman, I had no agency. I was an internalized misogynist. Says the misogynist. And then when he couldn't win the argument with me and I had him painted into a corner because I just turned it back on him, he called me the C word in Spanish. The guy who's standing up for women against misogynists like me, then calls me the C word in Spanish to dismiss me.
Chimichanga?
Yeah, that's what it was. Just to dismiss me because they didn't like the fact that I didn't agree with them. So they love you when you are a different representation as long as you agree. When you do not agree and they are not able to use you as a shield, then they will turn around and do everything they claim the other side, is doing. And I'm like, who's acting like a man baby here?
It's just a weird phenomenon. I mean, all the way around, look, we have been nerds like pretty much our whole lives, right?
It's one of the reasons you liked me.
That's one of the reasons we got together. We're both nerds, right? Nerd on nerd action. And
Kung Fu Grip. No, sorry.
Whoa. Ooh, which one?
Anyway, continue.
Anyway, I lost my train of thought there.
It doesn't take much.
Yeah, it's just my sexual frustration. Yeah. 'Cause,
if you only had a woman, you only got laid once in a while.
If I only knew what a woman was like.
And
right?
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it's just this whole weird thing. Like, I don't remember it being like this before. There always were pockets of people in fandoms that
people always disagreed, but usually it used to be for social media. You disagreed like in person, and then you might be like, we disagree on this, but we agree on this, and you'd find things you agreed on, and then you could talk around it, or you could have a healthy debate that didn't turn into, well, I don't have to listen to you because you're a man baby incel Republican.
Yeah, see, this is where it got really weird. There are people we know this about 2016, 2017, it started to get actually I'd say back to 2014 is when it really kicked in. But there are people that, since we have been in the nerd scene for a long time, have been doing conventions forever. One of our first dates was actually a freaking comic book convention.
True. People thought it was a booth babe. It was a whole
Yeah, because back then there weren't a lot of women there, right?
And they didn't. The ones that showed up were in flannel and jeans. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I love a good flannel and jeans. But
you were
I didn't know.
Hot. You were hot.
And I showed up in a mini skirt platform shoes. I was dressing up for you.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, I'm surrounded by dudes. Some guy with a bucket on his head has hold of me, and all these people are taking pictures. Actually happened. I was like, what is going on?
I did threaten to hit a few, I think, if I
was like, what is going on?
I'm like, you're the brightest light in the darkest bowels of
I am the brightest light.
Nerddom.
I try to be a bright light.
And I was incredibly not happy. I was like, that is my girlfriend.
But
do not do that.
Back to the point. We've been fans of things for years. I mean, before I met you, the reason you liked me was you found out I was fans of Star Wars. I sold toys in college. We've been fans for years. And where you had instances where people would get really mad about not agreeing, it wouldn't devolve into, well, you're a misogynist, racist, homophobic, whatever.
Well, yeah, and that's what I wanted to talk about, because there are people we used to table with, there are people that used to do the con scene together with us and stuff like that, that they're in person, they're totally normal people. You could have a normal conversation about this person, but then
go keyboard warrior?
Yeah, but then once they went keyboard warrior, and once the internet happened, and all the toxic political shit and all that, there was a definite change. It used to be people sit there and maybe argue well, I like this Green Lantern better than that Green Lantern, and here's why. Nah, I think you're wrong, Boki. Whatever. You do you, boo. Whatever. I don't care. And now it's if you don't like Shira, you're a literal Nazi. Not liking my stupid cartoon show is the equivalent of not liking Jewish people.
Same people, when you get them cornered, they're like, it's just a cartoon show. I don't know why you care.
No, that's
it's
what
just a
happens.
cartoon show. But then you say, why are you getting so mad that I disagree with you? It's just a cartoon.
So and the thing is, the vast majority of nerds are, I'm not gonna say casual. I guess I mean, we kind of were free, like we were into the geeky stuff, right? But it was not our.
My name's Geeky Sparkles. For fuck's sake, what do you think?
But it wasn't like our identity. Like we always had like well. Come on,
For me, I always was like huge Star Wars. I mean, I was always walking around the Star Wars book or something else. I was such a dork.
You had the job, and we had a family.
But you can have a job and be a big fan.
I know you can be a big, but I'm talking about like you're not like the new breed of
where your literal identity is standing
online.
for something, to the level of ridiculousness.
Your life revolves around waking up and whacking the beehive and taking out enemies over a cartoon show, or a comic book, whatever, video game that's not even yours. Like, again, I can see more of a case for individuals that were involved in the creation of something getting pissed off when people don't like it. Because that's your work. And somebody's like,
it's
your
gonna make
work
you
sucks.
upset.
Your food sucks. Your kids suck. Everything sucks that you do.
I have been told that. My kids suck.
Yeah.
Over cartoons. I was told my kids should kill themselves over cartoons. When Shir came out and I said I didn't like the character design, I got told I was a terrible, terrible mother and that I should not have children because I didn't like Shira's character design. Not even when the show came out, the character design.
The character design. So, I mean, I'm trying to think like, and it doesn't end. Like, even the fact that we're still, like, people are still going on about the freaking Shira. They're still bringing us up when it comes to the He-Man shit. And
but that's what my point it's about this whole thing is. It's like we're talking about pop culture and how it's in decline. And another reason it gets in decline is because the fandoms are so toxic. And I'm not talking about people who don't like what you like and that you calling them, your behavior is toxic. I'm sorry. If you don't like something and I like something or vice versa, and it's just like, oh, I don't like it because of this, or I like it because of this, and that's cool, and that's all it is, that's fine. When it devolves into you don't like it, so you're whatever the worst generalizations I can possibly think of to make at you, that's when I step in because I'm like, oh, hell no. That's why we do what we do. Like when it started becoming about bullying, we're like, oh, hell to the no.
You're acting like the jocks.
They're acting like the people they keep calling are the man babies.
I know, right?
They're acting just like the people they claim, they're claiming they're defending against. They themselves are doing what they're saying they're mad about. And I have a problem with it. And like, you're allowed to like it. My God. People in the comments are even like, well, you all have to like it because if you don't like it, we're not going to get more. I'm like, well, no one has to like it because you want more. You and your friends that like it may, ask for more, but people who don't like it don't have to.
Well, here's the difference too. Because we live in the real world and we make stuff ourselves. I'm just like, well, if I want more of a certain thing, we'll just find a way to make something like it ourselves.
Similar. I mean, well, I'll tell you what. I mean, we were at PowerCon and there's all kinds of amazing toy manufacturers making stuff that if it's not what you want, you can find somebody else that's making something in the same vein that is what you want. There is lots of things out there, and there's lots of cool things to be excited about and lots of cool things to be happy about. People are like, Clownfish just hates everything. No. Not true. Lots of things to be excited and happy about. The problem is, and what we talk about the most and why you hear mostly what we say we don't like is because of this behavior, and we talk more about the behavior, but this is actually tanking pop culture because you're dividing the people are dividing the fans by calling people who don't agree with you these names. You're chasing them off. When there's less people in the fandom, there's less demand for these shows to be made, so you're not going to get as much. So even if they disagree with you, the best thing you can do is be like, that's cool, but I saw you mention you like this aspect, let's talk about that instead, so you keep everybody connected and unified, so you do get more things. But but you can't tell people who don't like something they have to like it because you want more of that. You can't call them generalized assholey names because you're an insecure little douchebag.
Why?
Which I'm calling you douchebag. So
okay, so again, as a guy who's actually like got a leg in the real world here, why do you think normies look at nerds and geeks as being a bunch of fucking weirdos? Mm-hmm. Because they're looking at you like, these people are like, they might be casually in the stuff, I like Star Wars, I like Darth Vader, whatever, I watch the Marvel movies, whatever, but they're looking like, my God, you people are actually like eating each other over fucking cartoon shows. And what are you like? How old are you? 52? What the hell?
Again, the problem isn't that you disagree. The problem becomes when you become a bully about the disagreement. That's when the issue is, and that's on both sides.
Oh my God!
I'm going to say that is on both sides. I'm not going to say it's just one.
But I have seen it more.
There's definitely a trend towards one side, no question.
The defensive side, basically the stand culture thing. This is a pretty.
You have to love it or else.
Right. This is a pretty recent development. There have always been like big fans of bands and TV shows and Star Trek. I mean, going back way back, and I'm sure that there's a whole toxic backstory there with Star Trek fans and all that. But this whole like stan culture thing that's crept into just regular geek culture has driven out the casual fans. And that and the subpar product and the obvious disdain from the studios making the product.
Well, yeah, and the media finds this stuff and perpetuates it. It's like constantly it's like rotting it from the inside out.
It's like, why the hell would I get involved in a fandom when I have to deal with this shit? Or I could just watch.
I'm allowed to have an opinion.
Yeah, I could just watch reruns of something from 30
and
years
it's like,
ago.
And then these boards, they want people to join. They want people to join so they can grow their numbers. But then when you do join and you disagree, you're dogpiled. I'm not kidding though. They want I want my thing to be bigger and bigger and have more subscribers or whatever. But when you join, you're immediately dogpiled. You're just gonna turn people off.
Could you imagine if the same people that spent all day on social media, and if it's not on Twitter or Tumblr, it's on like secret discords and stuff. Could you imagine if they put that same amount of effort into making their own things?
Or just living in general, not and they might actually get out of the basement.
But that's the thing too.
I mean, I know that's not true.
No,
I'm just saying.
No,
it's just the whole,
The irony in this is you're finding out that a lot of the people that are attacking people who like, hey, I don't like the new He-Man, I don't like new Star Wars, I don't like new Star Trek, whatever. The people attacking them are the ones that are, you're just a basement dwelling neckbeard. Actually, most of the people they're going after, I'm like, no, they're married with kids. That guy's got like a day job.
Right.
This guy's like a freaking doctor.
I love when I was called incel and people are like, dude, she's married and has children.
She's married with kids and has multiple businesses. And,
yeah.
and is a teacher. She's fine.
Trust me.
She's
There's people, I would not have to be intentionally celibate. Trust me. And Neon will be the reason why, yes.
Wait, I'm the reason you're celibate?
No, I'm not.
On a very special episode of Clownfish TV. Guys, there's a reason we haven't been recording many videos anymore.
No, I just, when it comes to you have to bully, and that's when I will give it back to you because I'm like, this is bullshit. Like, look, you're allowed to have an opinion. You are totally allowed to like something. You know what? I get it. I wanted to like some things too. And while I'm happy for you that you like it, I'm sad that I don't like something or whatever. And the difference is like, I let you like what you like, but I'm not allowed to like or not like what I like. And that's the problem. Just understand not everybody has to like it. Sometimes people have legitimate reasons that aren't because they're alt-right or they're a misogynist or they're a sexist or they're a racist or some fucking stupid istophobic shield, which is shitty of you to use people as shields.
But it's like it's just playground name calling because it doesn't mean like if you got these people in person, say for a few now.
Say it to their face.
There's some
see what happens. See what happens.
The unfortunate truth is now we're seeing a lot of like legit mental illness creep into this, and you're starting to see some people do some creepy stuff. And again, a lot of it's in the name of like nerd shit, and it's like why? I don't understand how it got to this point. This is not any remotely looking like the scene that I was in 20 years ago.
I know, same. But look, if it's about wanting acceptance, it's like, I accept that you like it and I don't. Like, I don't reject you because you disagree with me. I reject you when you disagree with me and then you call me names because I don't agree with you and you try to bully me into submission.
Thrown off of social media for mild takes because of the stupid cartoon show. The irony in all this, and I've actually, some of the people that were like coming at us the hardest, like you would go out to their like Twitter timeline, like in different circumstances, we probably would get along.
I know, like they like a lot of the same things we do. Like 95% of stuff they like, we like too, but they're just mad because these
show,
yes,
we have to freaking
we hate everything. We hate everything because we don't like the one thing. But if they looked into it, they'd find out that we agree with them for all of this stuff. And as I said, like if you disagree with me about a cartoon show, look. anything really. Look, I still, I can understand that you as a person, you're not all that, you know what I mean? And I don't reject you as a person. I'm not going to say you're not my friend anymore, or I'm not going to talk to you anymore because you don't agree with me on something, because I'm sure there's a lot of things that we would agree on, and I think that that's what's causing a problem in pop culture. Another reason it's in decline is because, and the media is, I think, a big part of it. Social media, 100% a big part of it. A lot of new fans coming in, and it's this younger generation who cannot understand that, and the shipping culture, that cannot understand that you can disagree and still be friends. They're under the impression that if you vote in a way that they don't like, that you literally are the devil and should die. And they stopped talking to family members because they didn't vote the way they wanted. When I was a kid, you didn't know how your friends voted unless they told you. They didn't have to tell you, and it was cool. You know what? You're still friends at the end of the day. It's absolutely stupid. It's this all or nothing mentality, and it's a very toxic mentality, and it's a very corrosive mentality. And I think that it's a big problem, not just in pop culture, but in society in general, and it's very concerning.
I mean, I have opinions on it. I think a lot of it's by design. I think it's designed to divide us. I think it's designed to.
It's like the Oreo analogy with the guy that he's taking all the Oreos and and then the one guy's looking at crumbs. Yeah,
there are some forces in this world that would love to, find the fault lines.
Because if you're united, you can knock them out.
Yes.
But I mean, I'm not saying pop culture necessarily is all those things.
Well,
but
I think pop culture is, for years, I underestimated how much influence it actually has. And if you start causing trouble and causing drama in something like Star Wars that has become a freaking religion to some people, literally, and it's one of the most powerful, or was one of the most powerful IP on the planet, or Harry Potter, whatever, and you start causing division. And then you start to expose those fault lines, and you can start sticking that knife in.
I think the problem, I think the reason people can have the opportunity arises is because people, even old school fans, the reason these franchises have been around for so long is because it means so much to so many. And the problem with modern takes on it is if they do a good job and they honor what came before, it's not as divisive. But I think people are just overly emotional about stuff like this because it means so much to them. And then you have a new group coming in trying to use this stuff as their identity. And then they're trying to push people out that they don't like. Well, I love this, but I love the new this. And since you love the old this, you obviously are a terrible person and you should be gone.
Literally a religion.
Yeah, it's a cult. All this stuff is a cult.
A cult.
And
I would say a cult because not all religions are cults.
People have to be careful on both sides. But you have to be careful. Like if someone says they like something or don't like something and it's in opposition to what you think, that's fair. They are allowed to have those feelings. If they say, I don't like it because of this, and you can say, oh, I disagree because, this, that's fine. You can disagree. As long as you're not, I'm going to learn you, because if you were a real fan, you would know. And that's the other thing I'm seeing. If you were a real fan, you would know this character was always like this, but you're not laugh emoji. Ha ha ha. You don't know what you're talking about. No, see, it's all in the way if you're respectful and you understand people can have different opinions than you, and it's not an all or nothing thing. It's okay. It's when you become a bullying, toxic fucktard that I'm going to come after your ass.
Yes. Yeah. So look, we've always had tourists and there just seems like there's a lot more. And I think you can call showrunners or people working on a show out if they show obvious disdain for the product.
Yeah. Kevin Smith.
But I'm thinking in particular, Rachel Zegler is a prime example.
Oh, yeah,
everybody's like, okay, she clearly hates Snow White. She clearly hates the Disney
everything
legacy.
About it.
And so what we're seeing now is it's just been stepped up 18 notches. Started out with okay, you can tell the person working on the show wasn't really a fan of the show because this, that, what. Okay, whatever. Okay, now the person's out on social media making some comments or frustrated. Okay, whatever. Okay, now the person's out there saying anybody who doesn't like my show is a literal Nazi. Okay, now this is getting ridiculous. Okay, now they're like, oh, now the media's out there doing articles about how the people that don't like the show because of all the changes to the show are literal Nazis.
Well, it doesn't help with a lot of the media, especially, not so much now, but like Star Wars, for example, I was thinking of. A lot of them were younger, got themselves into a warm seat, and they were trying to be activists, masquerading as journalists. Like Star Wars, they loved Rian Johnson's film because, well, anybody can be a Jedi. It has all the things they love. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, you weren't allowed to disagree. But then Star Wars was the devil when everything got walked back on them. So I'm just like, it's sad because you want to be part of the fandoms and you want to be part of these groups, but you have to also go into it knowing that you're probably going to be called names if you don't agree.
Yeah.
And it's bullshit and it's wrong. And I think, you know, people need to realize that, you know, people are allowed to disagree with you as long as they're not being mean to you and they're not, you know, you don't have a right to go tell them they aren't a real fan or that they, you know, here's what you have to think because I said so. And if you don't agree, you're a generalized Nazi, alt-right, misogynist. Stop. Just stop with the broad brushstroke generalizations. It's not true. This isn't politics. It's not true then either. And you need to just, you know, chill the fuck out. It's a cartoon show.
Okay, we're gonna wrap this. This went long.
But Skeletor looks really weird. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. This is gonna come and go, and everybody's gonna forget about it, and then they'll move on to something else. And I keep forgetting this is even a thing.
January, I guess.
Yeah.
January 25th. Wooey.
All right, well, there you go, guys. January. They pushed it back. It was supposed to be November, I think.
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of reasons they're pushing stuff back. So
Right.
Sorry. I just want to talk about it because I keep seeing it. And I'm just like, oh, for heaven's sakes, just knock off this bullshit and stop using people as shields.
Yeah, it's got to stop, especially the bringing it into the real world. That's way too damn far. Way too damn far.
It's a cartoon. Well, you always tell me, well, it's not for you. It's a cartoon. It's a cartoon. Okay? At the end of the day, it's a cartoon. And an amazing toy line, but a cartoon. Anyway.
Let's wrap it up.
Yes.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.